Okay, well, we are live. Oh, why can't I hear myself? I fucking hate that. I really don't understand what's going on. Folks, I feel very depressed about this. Are you playing music right now? That's great. Folks, if you can hear me, shout. Because I don't know if I can hear me. I feel prepared. I don't feel ready. I don't feel happy. I kind of want to bail. Oh, June's here. June's the to learn with Liz. June, how's it sound? Can you hear me and also Maddie doing the thing? Do your thing. Okay. We don't have our usual microphone situation because we couldn't find my XLR to aux scenario that I usually use for this microphone. Okay, it sounds great. Can you hear Maddie playing music? Are you playing music? Welcome, June. Welcome to Learning with Liz. Season 2. We got a show. We certainly have a show. Let me grab it. Yeah, play quietly. Please do, Maddie. Here's what our schedule looks like for this evening. At 6:15, supposedly we have Sarah talking about Degrassi. Excited for that. I love Degrassi. At 6:30, Mia's coming on to talk about the JFK assassination. At 6:45, Grace is going to come on and talk about how to watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to do Origins of Western Music and Renaissance Instruments. Then 7:15, we lost Emily C. talking about TBA, but also nothing. Then a pee break. Then we got Nate with the Internet's Cold War Origins. Then at 8 o'clock, we got Dark Souls lore with Will. No, we don't. That got canceled. Then at 8:15, we've got John A with sports. Looking forward to that. And then at 8:30, we got Warhammer lore, Warhammer 40k lore. Don't know anything about that. And then at 8:45, we got Online Chess Redemption with Abby, who came on and played online chess last season, I guess. Are we calling these seasons? Guess so. Maddie Wood. Gonna come on and talk about play another game of chess, and this time win. I know that she's been practicing quite a lot, so theoretically things will be a lot easier for her, I guess. I don't know. I'm having I don't know how we're gonna do this because I'm having some technical issues where I'm trying to go through Zoom H6 for this audio because we don't have the other option. But I don't really know. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out for sure. Do you have an idea? What's your idea? Daddy's got an idea. How are people doing? We got one viewer in the chat. We got June.
I think that if the person...
Oh, I think I have an idea.
Okay, you got an idea too.
How about this? Now, okay.
We got it?
I think so. So I should be able to hear everything. Okay. It's going to be hard, but we're going to do it. The music does help, doesn't it? Oh.
Let's see if it works.
What are you doing? Oh, Maddie's recording her music to replay.
I'm just looping.
Lupin is what it's called. Lupin Wood. I don't know. I don't want to be too candid. I think I'm very I can't really tell if creative endeavors are worth it at this point. I know that sounds strange. But I feel like I like this show, and a ton of people signed up to present, which is very cool and made me feel very good. Um, but I think it's hard to tell, like, if people actually like what you're doing, or if people just, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with people. It's more so a problem with, like, do I have the energy to do this? Should I be doing something differently? Is it going to actually work out well? But I also kind of feel like you can just make stuff and it doesn't matter if anyone watches, because I don't know. In the realm of archives, like, it'll all be gone at some point. I should dye my hair again, huh? Usually we leave the opening 15 minutes for me to, like, actually talk about something, but I don't think we have much. But yeah, so welcome to Learning with Liz. It's a semi-educational call-in show. Using the word semi because I have, oh, thank you, June. Using the word semi because who knows if it's actually educational? Maybe you already know all this stuff. I don't know anything on our docket tonight, really. Let's pull it up again. I also think that weed has stopped working for me the way that it used to. As it used to be like, smoke the weed, take the rip from the bong, eat the edible, just like joy returns. And now I'm like, wow, I'm exhausted and sad. I don't know. What do you think, Maddie? She's busy. She's playing music. She's in. Ah. Would it help you if you could hear me in the Zoom, Maddie? Hi, Maddie. Maddie's in the Zoom room. Now I'm trying to talk in tune with the music. But if I'm not muted in the Zoom room, then it mutes the music when I start talking a little bit, because of how Zoom works. Because Zoom is not optimized for our uses generally. I know a little bit about Degrassi. That's true. I know some about the JFK assassination. I'm excited for that. Maddie's pumped for that. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I know a little bit. Origins of Western Music and Renaissance Instruments, I know zero. I know Emily Carter is not going to be on there. I think there's some hot setting to help with this. I think we got it. I'll just mute myself in the Zoom when Maddie's playing. For now, we should. we had like a long day before we started setting up. We were gonna start setting up at like 4, and then we went to Home Depot and we got breakfast. We got like some nice breakfast. What astrological season is it right now? Is it Virgo? That's why I feel like shit, because it's Virgo season. And that's kind of a cop out. I don't know. I'm starting to think that, like, on like my worst days, I'm like, oh, like, astrology is compatible with Marxism, but I don't think it is. Do you guys think it's compatible with Marxism?
I kind of don't.
Is it materialism?
I don't know.
Oh. Sarah of Easttown.
Sarah of Degrassi fame?
Yeah. We lost our 6:15, but she might be able to come for one of the slots that got ripped open as
Oh, that's
well.
not so bad. Can we prompt you then for our time in between?
7:15 and or 8 o'clock. I mean, you want to prompt me?
Do you want me to?
What does that mean?
To fill the rest of
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can just talk. Do you want to talk? Maddie wants to just talk. So we lost our 6:15 for now for everyone tuning in. I need to like we've lost some presentations for the premiere of Learning with Liz season 2, which is a little bit like kind of knew it was going to happen. I knew it was too good to be true that we had like a fully packed schedule for the first episode because people bail and they should, you know. I bail on everything. I bail constantly. I bail on most things. So, you know, every time someone bails on me, I'm like, yeah, that's the universe working its magic. I should stop bailing. It's been bad for my academic career, of which I don't have. I mean, I went to truancy court when I was in 9th grade. That was fun. Hello. We've got 2 people watching. I know one is June. June, thank you so much for your support, honestly. It means a lot. You know, you and I don't know each other that much. You're more Maddie's friend, but you're my friend. You know what I mean? We shouldn't think of things that way. It's hard to hear myself and talk, but I think I'm doing a good okay job. A go okay job. What are
Okay, job.
All right, so we're going to do Degrassi at 8 p.m. Degrassi. Sorry, I keep fucking dropping my phone and then I see Liz audio go up to 8. Go to red. 8. Fuck. Okay. So then we're kind of just hanging out until the JFK assassination. As one does. Ooh. I mean, do you want to come on right now, June? Sound sculptures. Are you guys ready to talk about sound sculptures? Maddie's pumped. Oh, you can like awful ASMR. Ooh. I keep forgetting that Maddie can't really hear me. Sound sculptures? June, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. You can come on later. You can come on whenever you want. We're kind of like, this is just, you know, what happens, happens. I'll be here until 9. I could just read a book out loud. That's legal for copyright law, as long as I show what the book is, I'm pretty sure. And I don't sell it. I'm not monetized on Twitch or YouTube. We're streaming on YouTube too today. Can you believe that? Doubling up. I got Restream, so we could double it up a little bit. June, don't rush out of the bath if you don't want to. I can fill time. Who's our other watcher? Say hello, our viewer. Oh my god, okay. I already plugged your name in, so you'll be ready to go. Oh my gosh, wait. Ready for this? Ready for this one? Oh. Okay. See, now I'm here twice. Oh, but we lost. We got it. We got it. We are professionals. Maddie, give me some music.
I'm coming in hot.
Oh. Oh. That sounds nice, Maddie. That sounds nice. Although now I can't tell if you can hear it in the Zoom. What a bunch of bull. This sucks.
We're getting there. You'll ease your way into it.
I feel like we could hear it before. Hello? Can you guys hear the music? This is fucking hysterical. Oh, we can't hear the music.
Really?
I've just been talking over nothing. That's embarrassing.
The music though, right?
I love the music. I think I know why, though.
I'll keep playing it.
Ah. Okay. Hello. Oh my god, Maddie. Okay. Okay, hello. I have to be able to. Hey. Welcome.
Liz, I don't think I can hear you.
Oh, I know why. Hello.
Oh, shit. Hi.
Hi. Welcome on again.
Yeah. Happy to be back.
So stoked to have you back. So you're gonna talk to us about sound sculptures a little bit?
Yeah. No, it's not long. I was planning this out. I was like, oh, my debut back on Learning with Liz. I'm going to talk about sound sculptures. So I'm trying to find like the link to the second one. But I have one I can start talking about.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay, can I share my screen?
Okay,
Heck
now you
yeah.
should be able to. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, let's just share my desktop. That sounds epic. Okay. All right. So, I don't even know how to pronounce the name of this one. I just call it the Iceland, these Iceland like sound domes.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this one's cool. Me and Clara found this. I think we just found it on the internet. One of those like, oh, look at this cool thing. So it's like very in the middle of of Iceland. I guess it's kind of north of Reykjavik, so it's not like completely in the middle of nowhere and could be a destination. But there are these cool like here's a person for reference. There are these cool like domes of sound that are all different sizes, and they're supposed to be like perfectly tuned to certain pitches. So while you're in them, it like perfectly vibrates the sound of certain things. I wonder if this article has the little video of this person singing in it, but they're like really pretty, and I think it's funny because it's like it's not. I guess most sound sculptures are like, if you're unfamiliar, they're kind of like art that makes sound. So like a classic one would be like a big thing of metal that kind of like the wind will play with it, and you'll kind of listen to the sound that way. And I think this one's funny because it's like this one kind of needs the sound from like a human to be the sound sculpture, which is cool. Yeah, I want to. Let's see if we can. We'll do it full rogue mode, and I'll Google the video of it.
Yeah, let's go rogue mode. We have 10 minutes. Why
Rogue
not?
mode. Okay, Iceland sound domes. Oh, see, look, I've already looked it up. Let's see, and I want the video of it. Please, my prepared presentation. Cool. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear the sound. That's pretty fun.
Very pretty.
Yeah, I think I'm sure the video doesn't like capture what it sounds like in person as much, but I can kind of imagine, and I think maybe there's another one where the person's like walking through it and you can kind of tell how it changes from dome to dome. I also like how on the inside it's just like connection of all I think there's five like little domey shapes to it. Let me see it. I think towards the end we got like a different perspective.
Yeah, I wonder what recording it, like optimal recording within the sculpture would be like.
Yeah, I feel like more microphones the better would be cool. But yeah, if I'm ever like in Iceland, I'll just yeah. Here, I think the other thing I wanted to do was like show the Google Maps of it. Oh yeah, because Reykjavik, I think Reykjavik's right there. There's a little slower. Oh wait, maybe I have no idea where I am in Iceland.
My brother's been to Reykjavik like a bunch of times. I
Oh,
don't
that's
know
super
why.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the opposite. It's on the opposite side of Reykjavik. I am. It's on East Iceland. Aha. Okay, so I'm totally wrong about where it is. Um,
That's okay.
but that, I feel like Iceland seems like such a cool place to go because there's this like I think the only way people travel is there's like this one road that goes around the outside, um, and because Reykjavik's like the most populated city for sure, but it seems like it would be super cool to go around the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine like going through the center of it with these gigantic national parks. Um, Iceland.
Iceland. Are there other sound sculptures in
Oh yeah,
Iceland or in general that we should?
yeah. Let me try to look up the one that I was gonna show. Oh, I forgot the name of it. This one is like very more hmm, just a big Google of sound sculptures and see if it comes up. It's popular. Metal. I think it's like a metal one, and it kind of looks like a butterfly.
Oh,
Uh, let's see if I can find it. Sound sculpture versus ordinary sound sculpture. Please. Me on Google is what this talking with Liz is. Ah, it's this one.
whoa!
Yeah. So this one is cool because it's kind of like that wind thing I was talking about,
It looks like a
where
tornado.
yeah, this one interacts with wind. Let's just iconically follow this link and see if we can get to a video of it, or at least I can learn the name of it. Yeah. Okay. Singing, ringing tree, and okay. So ooh, is this a close up of it? Looks so cool. I
There
love
must be a video. I feel like if it's a
yeah.
sound sculpture, why would you not?
Hold on. Singing, ringing tree. Here we go. Oh, it's in Texas. Oh, that's even better. Okay, cool.
We can totally go to Texas.
Yeah, Texas is you're always trying to look for things to do in Texas, so
Yeah.
I love this. I love this moniker. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's definitely terrifying. I think it when I was trying to imagine what sound it would make while I was looking at it, I was like, what's it gonna be like? And this is so much spookier than what I thought. Because I mean, if you think about it, all most of the tubes are really big, so if any wind hits it, it's gonna make this like low, hollow sound. Um,
It sounds like voices.
it's spooky. I really want to make. I guess also why this was the topic of choice is because I'm really interested in making some sound sculptures or trying my hand in
Mm.
some. And yeah, I really, I mean, besides the fact that you probably just need a lot of money to like get materials like this, it just seems so fun to like test out different things.
What? Do you have any ideas for what you would
Yeah,
use?
I'll turn the down while I talk. Um, I kind of tried one a little bit, but mine was more like technology based, where I built like this kind of colorful foam tube that I had an iPhone in the back of, and the camera on the iPhone was connected to this program I wrote that would respond to color and play certain samples. So it was more like an electronic music sculpture, which is still considered a sound sculpture. But I like I want to incorporate more things that like actually make sound besides just being electronic sound. But yeah, so I like that interactive. Like I really like the idea of like it would respond or play a different sound based on what kind of color you were wearing or something.
Mm.
So that was my first try into the area, but I think it would be cool to like collect metal and do something really three-dimensional and interactive.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
itself sounds really cool. Just what you have
Yeah.
already done, you know? Like
Yeah.
that could
I'll
even be expanded into some amazing stuff. This is so
yeah.
fucking cool, June.
Yeah. No, they're super fun to look at. And I also think that like more museums should gather things like that because I love interactive sound stuff. And I guess some museums are probably like, the logistics might be too much for some museums, but like there's a really good sound bridge at Mass MoCA that I love, and that's just like a bridge with like 100 speakers on it, so it will like bounce down the bridge and bounce back up,
Mm.
and those are cool. So sound sculptures.
Yeah. Sick.
Sweet. Well,
Thank you for an
thank you for having.
impromptu presentation. Do you have
Please,
any?
I was like cozying up in the bath, learning with Liz, and I was like, I gotta save the day, save the first presentation.
You truly saved the day. You really did. Thank you so much. Sorry for going on.
No, no, it was. I'm glad to be here. I should have just actually signed up instead of being like, oh, I'll sit the first one out.
Well, you'll be back next week, I'm
Absolutely.
sure.
I'll be back. I love to watch and participate. Have a
Oh,
great rest of your show. I'll be
yeah.
in the chat.
Please be. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alright, bye. Bye,
Bye.
June. Maddie, we did it. We had an amazing first presentation, and now Mia's here. So let me set up our little caller topic for our next caller topic. All right, we're zooming. We're going here. We got the music. Music on lock. Music will be on lock eventually. Hello. Hi.
Hello. What's up?
Maddie, cease music.
Thanks, Maddie.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We have all been we being me and Maddie are so excited for this. So take it away, JFK assassination.
That's I'm really excited for this too. I feel like I'm on gay InfoWars right now. This is awesome. Yeah, let me get the Wikipedia page for the JFK assassination pulled up so I can just read from that. Just kidding. Yeah, I didn't. Was I supposed to like prepare for
No,
this?
just
Like,
talk about it. You
I,
have 15 minutes. You
okay.
can talk about the
Yeah, I don't
JFK
have like
assassination for 15 minutes.
cool. Yeah, I don't have PowerPoint slides or anything.
No,
Okay, good. Well, how much do you know about that?
I
I need like a
know.
frame of
I've
reference.
got like a couple books back here, like some Peter Dale Scott about some JFK stuff, but you know,
Cool.
um, tell me about it like I was born yesterday.
Okay, so JFK assassination, we're talking about what happened November 22nd, 1963 in Dallas, Texas, in Dealey Plaza, where a lone gunman assassinated. Just kidding. So you can break down it's a conspiracy, right? You can break it down in like three levels of, I guess, like fields or terrains that you can study in or whatever. So you can have like what I think is like probably like the largest focus of it all, which is like Dealey Plaza studying like bullet forensics, talking about like the Warren Commission and debunking like the magic bullet theory and stuff. And that's probably like the least interesting. Like I think Peter Dale Scott even says like I'm not a Dealey Plaza guy because it's like you can debate that endlessly and like I'm not like a forensic scientist unfortunately, so I can't like break that down. But the other two things, I mean, you could talk about like basically Lee Harvey Oswald's background and his different like connections to the CIA and things like that. And then you can talk about like the kind of transformation, like the third level of it all, which is like the transformation of the JFK administration towards the end and how he was kind of pushed towards this kind of position of kind of looking to dismantle the CIA's power and kind of put a huge check on the covert operations that are happening and things like that. So I can start with like Lee Harvey Oswald
Yeah.
and stuff, but it's basically a, so for those at home who are listening, Lee Harvey Oswald was basically the patsy for the JFK assassination. He was the fall guy. Um, his background is he was a Marine and he was stationed in Atsugi at the Atsugi Naval Base in Japan, and that was the site. It was the site of a lot of things. Like there were MK Ultra experiments that were performed there and things like that. But probably most notably, it was the site of the U-2 spy plane operation that was happening at the time, which is like, and he was doing radar for that, and he had top level secret clearance for it. Like he was already like deep into like secret level stuff at that time. Um, and he at that time was building up kind of this rapport as like a Marxist Leninist. Like he was like learning Russian. He was trying to kind of build this like identity as like a communist, and that led to this defection to Russia, which was in 1959, which was like right after James Angleton's like false defector program for the CIA was like really ramping up at the time. And he defects to Russia. While he's there, he does all these things that are very like classic, like false defector program, like kind of things where he like marries a woman in like 6 weeks. And like the Soviets the whole time like are skeptical of him and they don't really like they don't really buy his story that he was this like communist Marine that defected and things like that. So he comes back to the United States, and we know now because of the House Select Committee investigation files that like they had a 201 file on Oswald, the CIA did. And the purpose of that 201 file was specifically for internal surveillance. So like keeping track of assets that were like considered high risk, because like he was someone who was a false defector who went to the Soviet Union. He had all these secrets of the U-2 spy plane, and that was like a huge thing. So we pretty much know for a fact that he was like CIA, at least for like that part. When he comes back to the United States, he is greeted with this by this guy named George de Mohrenschildt, who's like one of the most interesting people involved in the kind of narrative that kind of unfolds. De Mohrenschildt is one of like many different people who will later be killed under very mysterious circumstances after agreeing to testify on behalf of all of this stuff. So De Mohrenschildt, according to him, was told by his CIA handler, because De Mohrenschildt basically his entire life was working at like different like CIA asset jobs and things like that. De Mohrenschildt was told to take Lee Harvey Oswald and kind of introduce him to the Russian American community in New Orleans, which is a notoriously anti-communist group of people. These are people who like fled from the Soviet Union because like the Soviet Union was bad for them, you know.
We have a lot of such communities in this country.
Yeah, exactly. And so and it conflicts with the story because Lee Harvey Oswald is supposed to be this like adamant communist, and that later plays into the narrative of why he would have killed JFK, that he was this like lone crazy guy who had these communist sympathies the whole time he's hanging around all of these different anti-communist figures. And his first job there, I believe it's at a coffee company or a print, I forget which, but it's a CIA front, whichever it is. It's also right across the street from the office of this guy named Guy Bannister, who a notorious like anti-communist, like very right-wing, you could argue like fascist guy who was helping run Operation Mongoose at the time, which was the CIA's like plan to kill Castro and basically destabilize the revolution there. And so Lee Harvey Oswald writes to the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, which is like this organization that's supposed to be
anti-Castro
this
Cubans,
like
right?
It's the opposite actually. So it's supposed to be like communists like defending the revolution. But he never hears back, but he just kind of like starts it as himself. And what we know now is that like the things he was involved in were part of Operation Mongoose, of these different things of like creating false sympathizers with like pro-Castro groups to try to like both infiltrate them and like create like spectacles and things that would like create a bad image for them or whatever. And so he's doing all of that and is like located at the place where they're like running Operation Mongoose at the same time, and like around all of these people who have these like very anti-Kennedy kind of politics, which I guess that's like a good segue to talk about like the third thing with like I'm trying to like speed run this whole conspiracy theory right now.
Everyone watching, you could spend months. You should spend months learning about this.
Yeah, if you want to stay up until like 5 a.m. and have like a great distraction from like your life, it's a great way to do that. I've been doing it for like 10 months now. It's really fun. But so Kennedy, like I think a lot of the like objection from maybe like people on the left or something of like the Kennedy conspiracy theories is like, why would the government have any interest in killing JFK? Like, because on the surface, he's just like, you know, he's a tepid liberal, like came in with pretty anti-communist like politics and stuff. So I think one of the reasons why it's worth doing the big rabbit hole of like figuring out all of the stuff and putting the pieces together is you start to learn a lot about the like early CIA, the Allen Dulles era of it. And like, uh, you know, the history is that like, you know, this was a government agency that was controlling like the vast majority of America's foreign policy at the time and like was successfully committing coups in Guatemala, Iran, you know, meddling in the Congo, Haiti, different parts of Latin America. And they were like constantly successful the whole time. They were always like toppling these governments, installing US backed leaders, like getting US financial interests secured and things like that. Until the Cuban Revolution, where there's this big, you know, fight between Kennedy and Dulles and the people who are running the Bay of Pigs operation. And Kennedy basically takes the blame for the failure of the Bay of Pigs. And like I mean, like it's a pretty popular quote that people attribute to him of like he wanted to smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces and things like that. And so like he was going up against what he kind of uncovered throughout his administration of, you know, this huge apparatus of government that had no kind of like, I guess you could say like bourgeois democratic accountability or whatever. It was totally covert, totally like off the record, and he was horrified by it. And he wanted to move in a direction that was antithetical to that and antithetical to the Cold War. So yeah, they shot his brains out, and that's the story.
All over the street in front of everybody.
Yeah, Jackie Kennedy got brained.
It's so fucking crazy. I'm trying to think of a good question for you, but it's just like I don't know. I feel like the JFK assassination is like boomers do know that it was this. Like I've talked to my mom and she's like, you're crazy about 9/11 stuff, but yeah, the CIA did kill JFK.
Yeah. My dad is like stringently like anti-JFK conspiracy theories. I think he just like hates Oliver Stone.
Fair enough.
I got my mom onto it. I like told her, do you know about like the Mexico City, like Lee Harvey Oswald? Yeah, I like sent her all of that stuff, and she was like, yeah, that you can't really like, explain that away.
You know what's also so crazy is how many times throughout history with other CIA operations the name Oswald comes up with other patsies. Like they just kind of use that.
Oh yeah.
Like that's so that's so fucked up.
I had no idea that was the case. That's really crazy. It has like a ton of like, you know, because the CIA like it's literally their job to do coups, and that's why they're the perfect people to do this. But like it has like so many like just dead similarities between like how they would handle something in like Iran or Guatemala or something. Yeah. Thanks for letting me come on and talk about it.
I think they tried to assassinate Jimmy Carter, and one of the guys who was like caught for doing that's last name was Oswald. Okay, here's my last question for you before you go off, which is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Off the top of your dome, how many people do you think are CIA assets that we know, like as a percentage? Like the average American knows.
I mean, the next person on the show is Grace Ramsey, and I have a lot of evidence leading towards that assertion. Probably, I don't know. Well, that's hard to say because right now the CIA is less of like it's more just like the State Department and like I mean the fucking FBI, like the majority of their budget is literally like informants who are trying to like coerce like 15-year-olds to do terrorism. So I don't know, yeah, probably like 60%.
Yeah, I would say like
Yeah,
probably most people I talk to are like MK Ultra. Thank you so
that's
much for coming
awesome.
on.
Absolutely.
um, yeah, we should talk more about this. I have a broad
Cool.
theory that the social media, the internet, is an MK Ultra project on all of us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
All right, thank you, Mia. You can log off whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. Okay, bye. Take
Bye.
care.
Well, that was fun. Now we have to let Grace in, see if she has a rebuttal to that. What is Grace talking about? Oh, the Real Housewives. Greg! Hang on, I have to
Hi.
pin you.
Well, I've been outed, as an asset, so I guess I'll have to change my topic last minute. Because
To beating the asset accusations.
exactly, yeah. Here's how to keep your clout and not be accused of terrible things by Mia Lauer. Just kidding.
Before you get started, I just want to say that I think a lot of people at Smith are probably CIA assets.
Of course. Gloria Steinem.
Oh, but I mean in our generation.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of just brain worms, I'm like, there's no way that wasn't programmed intentionally, at least a little bit. Okay.
I would agree. Yes. Probably the person who wanted to have a femme-only orgy via Google Doc, I suspect.
Yeah, like that's
that's
a data mining operation. Okay. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I want to preface this by saying my topic slightly got changed by the producers because my topic is how to watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and hate yourself only a little bit.
Okay, let me type that.
You don't have to.
I do, because I'm a kind host. Okay, get started.
Okay, and I would also like to, I did prepare a PowerPoint, but it's only photographs.
Okay.
So let me share my screen really quickly. So The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is a show where super wealthy women get paid millions of dollars to let us into their lives. So it's really deranged. I will tell you all about it in 1 second. I'm just going to give a quick overview that basically the main conflicts of the show every season is that there's a conversation and then people misunderstand or their feelings get hurt. And the rest of the series is everyone having meta conversations about the conversation. In previous seasons, there's been someone who had chronic Lyme disease who was accused of having Munchausen's. There was someone who was accused of being a lesbian and cheating on her husband. This image is a perfect example. So this woman, Lisa Rinna, is absolutely unhinged, and she gave a bunny to another housewife who was having a grandchild. And at the reunion, the other woman gave back the bunny in its wrapping and said, I didn't feel like this was genuine. And Lisa Rinna, you can see right here, she shed a tear on camera during the live release.
She goes to her lip filler plug and is just like,
her lip filler plug was like, yeah. So that's a great segue as one way to picture this. It's 2021. You have anxiety, depression, and PTSD and a migraine. What are you expected to do besides lie down with one of those gel masks on your forehead and watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? So one good way to do it and just not completely fall into a pool of self-loathing is to pick someone that you hate no matter what. I fucking hate Lisa Rinna. She is ridiculous. Even when she's right, I'm just like, I'm not going to agree with her because everyone's wrong all the time. So if you have like a target person who you can just like your rage onto during it, that's perfect. Because then you'll always have someone to be mad at. And when you're watching reality TV, you want to have an enemy. So Lisa Rinna is my enemy. I'm getting some notes in my chat that people love Lisa.
People love Lisa?
people love Lisa, but you know what? That's fine. That's their experience of watching the show.
Listen, if you want to come on and talk about how you like this person, we have some openings next week. Continue, Perfect. Grace. This is your time.
Okay. So then, let's say there's someone that you love no matter what. This person's name is Erika Jayne, Erika Girardi. You might have heard about her in the news because her recently ex-husband, Tom Girardi, was the Erin Brockovich lawyer, and he's now been accused of embezzling hundreds of $millions from a lot of his victims, including victims of the Malaysian flight crash. He had to declare bankruptcy. This woman was married to him for 20 years. She's in her late 40s, early 50s. Her plastic surgery is incredible. She basically just found a bunch of gay people to hire and then start a really bad dance music career with. And everything she does is right. So she's my person. Yeah. That everything, it doesn't, you know what, Erika's right. She's crying right now because she's feeling put on the spot at a dinner party because people are concerned about protecting their reputations during this whole Girardi Gate situation. She's right.
Don't they know that they're also garbage?
Yeah. All of us, you know?
It seems stupid to fight.
It does seem stupid to fight, but it's their job.
They have nothing else to do.
They have nothing else to do. And that's another good thing to remember as you're entering this world is like, this is all they do. All of their needs are beyond met. So, but they're still human beings. So then their anxiety funnels out into like yelling at each other at dinner parties. So this dinner party was at Kathy Hilton's house, mother of Paris and Nikki, and she's a friend of the show.
Okay.
And if you're a friend of the show, it means that you don't have the full housewife credit, but you are paid to kind of like pay-per-view appearances throughout the season. I believe I have Kathy actually next to look at. Okay, here she is, my girl, Kathy Hilton. Kathy Hilton rises above all of the bullshit. No one ever brings her into a fight because she's Kathy Hilton. Yeah. There's nothing. She has blood on her hands. She's incredibly wealthy. And she's incredibly out of touch.
She's done horrific things.
She's done horrific things. And she's also incredibly out of touch with reality, which is another way that I really like watching this show, is to see how out of touch with reality everyone is. As I continue the slideshow, you'll see fashion choices that really show how out of touch with reality these women are. And just because something costs like 15 grand, they're going to wear it. This is Kathy Hilton next to her sister, Kyle. This is Kyle, Kathy to the left. Kyle Richards, yeah. So they're sisters. Kyle has been on the show since season 1, so she's the only long hauler in the series because they're on season 11 or 13 now. I don't remember which. So this is during a moment when there are other women fighting at another outdoor luncheon. And one of the women is saying, it's really hard for me to be around this person and pretend everything is hunky-dory. The camera pans to Kathy Hilton and she says, "Who's hunky-dory?" She has never
heard fucking book, Kathy Hilton.
She's never heard the expression hunky-dory. Why would she? Her life is hunky-dory. Why would she have to describe it like that? So it's like very satisfying to watch these clueless, terrible, wealthy women just have no idea what's happening in the world. They filmed the season during COVID, so all the producers are in masks whenever there's like butlers or servers as they're continuing their lives. And that does suck, and it makes it a little less enjoyable for me to watch. But it's also just like, holy shit, they are so ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, I get it though, because I feel like it's like these are the people that like, you know, we should just build a big maze and put them in it.
That's basically what the show is. They're in the maze. They have nothing to do but wonder about hunky-dory.
Oh, God.
This is Garcelle.
Oh,
you know, we're getting into the questionable fashion choices. I think this is her second season. And they had an entire episode at a different dinner party where everyone started talking about not seeing color and being colorblind and how that's really good. And one of the other women said to Garcelle, my children have lots of people of color they love. Like all of my staff are women of color. And Garcelle's like, are you telling me you only hire brown people to nanny your children? And then the other woman's response is, my best friend's mother is Black. So for me, while this is ridiculous, it's also a really helpful way for me to understand how there are other white women in the world who think that this is totally regular and cool to discuss on television and discuss with a Black woman. So that, you know, that's another way. I feel like I am a sociologist, understanding who I could become if I'm not careful.
You are a sociologist.
Thank you. I should have worn my t-shirt that says sociology researcher because it's one of my favorite shirts, but alas, here we are. Okay. I believe this is my last image on the slideshow. Okay. This woman is named Dorit. So she's the one who
that like a therapist shows you that and is like, what do you see?
This is my autism quiz. What do you see with this woman? So Dorit is one of the most ridiculous people on the show. She, as you can tell, has really embraced being the fashionista of the series. Like she thinks this is amazing. And one of the features of the Housewives is that whenever they all get together, they spend like 25 minutes just talking about what everyone's wearing as a way to get into conflict. So this is her way to show up and start that discussion. Yeah. But my other really favorite thing about Dorit is that she's Israeli and grew up in Connecticut and is married to a British man. And so her accent, she pretends that she has an English accent and she'll often say things like, PK, what are you doing? And she has this like mid-Atlantic London questionable, like well-traveled accent that is her hallmark situation. This is from a more recent season, so you can see she's gotten lip fillers, etc. And so another really fun way to watch the show, I'll close out with 3 minutes left, is to you can start wherever you want because it's so digestible. So you could start at the beginning, you could start now, you could start in the middle, and then your interest will be piqued, unfortunately, and then you'll have to either go back or forward and be like, what are these women wearing in like 2014, which is horrible things. Like, what plastic surgery do they like? Who are they? You know, who do they think is cool? What do they think is trashy? And to see these, like, again, just disgustingly wealthy women pretend that they have problems is, you know, it works for me as a self-soothing activity.
You know, so, they're not wrong. They do have problems.
They do have problems. They do. Like, you know, my caviar pie was too big, or like, you know.
My caviar pie was too big?
Kathy Hilton did have a dinner party in the most recent episode where she served caviar pie as their first course. So
I meant more so that they're psychotic.
They're psychotic and they're anxious and same. So, you know, I guess if I had a net worth of like several $100 million, I might be compelled to do something similar, but probably not.
Well, you know, because isn't that sort of central to Marxism, is that it's like, yeah, when you're like that, you are like that.
Yeah. When you're like that, you're like that.
Yeah.
Marxism / Resolver.
Okay. We have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to ask you some questions.
Please.
One, what is your favorite moment that you've ever watched on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Probably my favorite moment is Erika Jayne pretending that she is a member of the LGBTQ community when another woman is talking about putting someone else in her place, and Erika goes, "We call that reading." Yeah.
That's all it takes. Second question. Spin-offs? Aren't there a million of these? Have you watched any of these?
Yeah. So I focused on Beverly Hills, but there's New York, Salt Lake City, Potomac, Atlanta, Orange County, New Jersey, etc. There's a bazillion. Bravo TV really has it on lock with finding rich women who like screaming on TV and going on nice trips.
It's probably not very hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I love you.
Whenever you're ready, I love you. Come back soon. Thank you for presenting.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So, let me see here. Well, next up we have Win, who is not yet in my Zoom meeting. Maddie, do you want to play some tunes? So while we wait for Win, you know, I don't know what to say. I too love reality TV. I too love reality TV. I've been watching Love Island. And I think that, like, I said this to Maddie yesterday, so this is a reused bit, but I think that, like, Love Island could just continue forever, like, with whoever is left, you know? Because they just need a remote place that's warm, where they can sun and tan. That's still going to exist for a while. It might be, you know, Pennsylvania, where it would be temperate enough. Or it might be... Anyway, we can do Love Island forever. Until everyone's dead, we can do Love Island. And it'll still be good. And the ritual of it, where they all sort of come together and, like, clap and freak out and are all happy and stuff when it's time for them to go into the fuck room, that can continue. That can become our new religion. Those sort of strange mannerisms that they have on the television program that I like. I also love doing a British accent. So we're waiting on Win. Let me check to see that I haven't received any kind of message. We can hear the music now, right, folks? I do not have any new messages. Well, this is kind of a weird one. What are we working with right now, Maddie? I'm not going to pull up the schedule because it's changed so much. Well, only slightly, but enough that, like, let's not review it. What would you call this tune? Maddie hasn't named that tune yet. What do you guys think of the backdrop? Yeah, I love everything you do, Maddie. What do you guys think of the backdrop here? Because Mary Jester, so kind, made this backdrop for us. All right, we got Win. Oh, I have to. Oh, we got Win on the horn. That's a good bit. Ooh, doo doo. Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry for being late. I was waylaid by the good people of Hammers.
Oh, you're fine. Maddie, kill the music.
Hi, Maddie.
Oh, Maddie says hello. All right, so let me do some rearranging here. Are you ready to talk about the history of Western music? What is this? You got a great topic.
The history, well, Western music, I was thinking about it's Western music and like ways of listening to music of different cultures, and also weird Renaissance instruments because I know them.
Perfect.
I know a lot of them.
All right, take it away.
All right. So I put this down because I did a lot of sound study stuff in college that I haven't really, and like music theory and shit that I haven't really used. But then my friend was telling me about an experience they had doing like social media, like recording and broadcasting a bluegrass show. Oh. And they were like, yeah, like it was amplified, like it was all amplified, and all of the instruments of bluegrass, which are like the banjo, like the steel string guitar, like the fiddle, they have a very, and you probably know this because you're like a sound type person, they have a very narrow narrow range. They're all very high and they're all very tinny. And so, except for the bass, which bluegrass you can have like upright bass, whatever. This isn't about bluegrass. This is about listening to different kinds of music in different kinds of contexts. But my friend was like, this bluegrass festival that I recorded sounded like garbage, and all I could hear was like this sort of tinny like wall of sound from all these like high range instruments, and then like the bass just going like do 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 do. And so I was thinking about this, and I was like, dude, like the context in which you are listening to the bluegrass music amplified at a festival, probably like in a huge field, open air, with like bajillions of people through digital instruments, is like totally not the context in which bluegrass music came from. Yeah. And the same goes for like Balkan music, Roma music. And okay, people clown on bagpipes all the time for somewhat similar reasons. Like they're really
bunch of jerks out here clowning on bagpipes.
I know. People are like, bagpipes suck, and I'm here to tell you why bagpipes don't suck. Bagpipes do not suck. Well, okay, bagpipes suck if you are playing them in the wrong context. And I don't mean sort of like atmospheric or like event context. I mean more like, so people play bagpipes at weddings, right? Which is a sort of similar situation. Like you have an open field, you have like a fuck ton of people milling about. The bagpipe is a really incredibly powerful instrument and sounds quite similar actually to a really ancient Celtic instrument called the carnix, which is a huge horn that is like bigger than you or I, that is held, it's sort of like, it's almost like an S shape, and they have these like incredible reconstructions of, they're like pig faces. But anyway, so in the olden times, this is my theory about where like the sound of the bagpipes come from. In the olden times, when the Romans were like invading, they were trying to annex Hibernia, I think Rome called Ireland and Scotland and stuff. Right, the Celts were like, fuck man, like this is not cool, we are being colonized. And so they would bring out the carnix. And now the carnix, and later the bagpipe, and also the tin whistle, instruments of the Emerald Isle, are all incredibly well-designed instruments for making yourself heard in like the forests, through mist, in an environment where there's all this like spongy like organic material, right? So those are like, and they're not being played inside like a small space. So if you're listening to shit like bluegrass or Balkan music or Roma music or bagpipes or fucking any of these, and it sounds like dog shit, I urge you, specifically you, Liz, and also the good people, to consider like what is the context. All of these instruments come from like, they're meant to be played outside, and they're meant to be played in places where there's not a lot of like hard surfaces for sound to bounce off of, right?
Yeah.
So in contrast to that, in direct contrast to that, so Western music, right? Western notation, plain chant, early Gregorian music. We've all heard, like we all know what that sounds like.
Yeah.
That kind of music, and a lot of chant music, I believe a lot of chant music just generally, but like I'm sort of specifically coming from like, I'm like, oh, Gregorian, like I can talk about that because that's what I know about. That was the kind of music that was being sung in like first caves, and then when people were building churches, they were singing it in churches.
Big places. Hollow.
Yeah, huge places. Yeah, lots of really echoey, really resonant. Caves basically, churches basically emulate caves. Like if you think about that, and like you think about sort of where we've been finding like artifacts and like bones from like really early humans, and like sort of places that people are speculating like, oh, this was a sacred space, this was a sacred cave. It's all caves. I hear.
Fuck yeah. It's all caves. Oh, sorry.
It's all caves.
It's a very sensitive microphone. Speaking of sonic studies. Yeah, so all of this early music, churches are based on caves. I love that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
As a theory.
How am I doing? How am I on? Oh, we've got time. Okay.
Yeah, you're
great.
doing great. You've got like 6 more minutes.
Great. Yeah. So the cool thing about Gregorian music is that like, and plain chant, and then what the hell is it called? Like square notation, early forms of notation, like very early systems of Western music that have their roots in chant music are generally, they have a sort of narrow range. Again, we're back with like the narrow range, but they have a more like there's a more fleshed out like delineation of parts. So you have like a high part, you have your middle part, and you have like your bass, like deep voice part. Mm-hmm. And all of that, and the way that people were writing it and the way that people were composing, it was all meant to sound really, really good in these huge spaces where there was not a lot of like control over like what was happening acoustically. So these spaces were just like huge resonant, they were designed to be, and they were like huge, beautiful resonant chambers for the human voice. And that's sort of that context, when people were singing and sort of, like Miserere by like Grigori, what's his name? Gregorini Allegri, I think his name is. All like that beautiful choral music came about because like people have not always been professional singers, but it's pretty easy to make your voice sound really beautiful, like in a huge echoey space like that. And it's also pretty easy to like to take that as like a basis and then be like, okay, now we can sort of, you can write music that is readable to like the common folk, people who are not professional musicians, and have it sound really fucking good with just like those 3 parts in this huge big resonant space. I implore you all to consider what playing a bagpipe like at the bottom of a canyon like in Arizona would sound like.
Crazy.
Yeah, it would sound bad, but somebody like singing there, that'd sound pretty cool.
Did you watch any of the, because we had my friend June came on and talked about sound sculptures built specifically for interesting acoustic technology.
Oh my god, so you've already been hearing about this. I'm so sad that I missed that. Is there a recording of it?
Yeah. It'll all be up. I'll send it to you. But I feel like that's what a great thread to go through this show. It's a sort of sound study stuff.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, wow.
Cool.
Wow, that's so sick. Yeah. It also makes me think about how like when you try and record, like basically like a lot of the microphones that we use right now in like now times sort of have similar limitations for like what they're trying to record, because like the microphone, I have like $100 Chromebook right now that I'm speaking to you on, and I know it has a shitty microphone, but this shitty microphone, as with like most of the sort of microphones that are available for consumer use, are only like, they are designed to pick up the sort of narrow range high frequencies of the human voice. And so if I went and like if I try and record my cello on something like that, I haven't found a microphone that can satisfactorily record any of my cello music. But especially not ones that are sort of like, that are like, oh, I listen back to it and I'm like, oh, it's very tinny and it's picking up like these specific frequencies, and I'm like, oh god damn it, every single microphone in the world is designed to pick up the human voice because that's what most people are using them for.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Consumer stuff. Horrible.
Consumer stuff.
Although some microphones are sort of, there's some stuff that I feel has been like, I don't know, there's a lot of interesting microphones that are specifically for like background noise and ambience and things like that. I wonder sort of, I don't know.
Oh, really?
in film, because in film stuff we have to, like, there's sort of sound effect microphones, and then there's sort of like really directional stuff sort of specifically for the human voice, obviously, like this. But there's also like, there's omnidirectional microphones. Maddie's not even listening to me, but oh man. But yeah, I don't know. Let's do some microphone tests on this show. That would be fun.
That would be really fun.
So you have 2 minutes left. Do you want to tell me about any other fun Renaissance instruments?
Oh, Renaissance instruments, yes. I've been learning a lot about weird instruments lately to sort of see which ones I can pick up and play. But so so I've been learning because I already played the guitar, so I was like, oh, I'll sort of go back in the lineage of the guitar and see what like absolutely buck wild shit people have come up with. One really cool instrument is not a Renaissance instrument, but an Arabic instrument. It's called an oud. It's sort of the grandfather of all stringed instruments. It's sort of like a very round, fretless lute. But the lute is sort of the lute is like Europe's answer to the oud, because they were like, we can't they're like, we don't know how to play instruments without frets. Like our musical system, our systems of notation are like not nearly as complex or specific as like Eastern systems of notation, which is another thing I'd love to come back on and talk about because that's wildly fascinating. Anyway, there's this one instrument. There's this one instrument called the theorbo, spelled Theorbo, and I encourage you to Google what this instrument looks like, because it is absurd. It's really absurd.
Pull it up.
It's sort of like the Carnix horn, that huge horn that's like bigger than a person, but for the lute. So it's like a double bass lute, and it has a huge neck and like a very weird system of tuning, just because it's so large. But it has, similar to like the cello, or the bass or the upright bass, it has a very wide range of stuff that it can play. Like the cello can play like any part in the orchestra, right? It can play the viola part, it can play the violin part, it can play any part that's higher than it. The theorbo is kind of similar, although it's wicked hard, I would assume.
Huge.
Yeah.
So big. How would you even, I feel like I'm like looking at this, well, I guess all the I don't even know. That's crazy. She's doing it though. This person in this video is like doing it. Very amazing.
Oh my god, yeah. And it is so like the absurdity of the theorbo. Even like the name itself is from, it's like a sort of attenuated version of like an Italian nickname for the instrument that was like basically big stupid instrument. And then they were like, that's what it's called. Big stupid.
And then you mentioned the oud. We're looking at the oud. What was the other one you said?
Sorry?
What was the other one you said? I'm just trying to show some pics.
I said the theorbo, the oud, the Carnix, which is spelled Carnyx.
Whoa! Oh my god! It does look like kind of a pig.
Yeah.
Mouth.
Yeah, back when there were wild pigs roaming around in Ireland and Scotland.
Oh my god.
I don't remember if the Carnix is from Ireland or Scotland. I want to say it's from Ireland. But there was so much sort of osmosis and colonializing back and forth back in the day. Who really can tell?
Yeah.
But yeah, the flip side of having such absurdly, inconveniently large or complicated instruments is that the sound of the Carnix and the sound of the theorbo and the sound of the oud, which is conveniently small but still sort of a weird instrument and very difficult to play well. I think that they're like, these are three of the most beautiful sounds and the most beautiful instruments that have been created, like just because like they're so old, and they're so specific and they're so like highly designed. I think they're really cool. I think we should bring them back.
Yeah. That's a great, what a great note to end on, truly. I think we should bring these things back. What's stopping us? You know, a lot of things, but...
Thank you. Mostly the absurd size of all of these.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm always excited to talk about sound and music.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to tune in after this, where do I go?
Go to twitch.tv/hellispatient.
All right. I will pop up right there directly after this.
All right. You can log out of the Zoom whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you so much, Liz.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you around.
See it. All right, folks. All right, folks. Well, now only 2 people are freaking watching. Where'd everybody go? You guys don't like old instruments? Just kidding. Maddie, do you want to play some tunes? Because we got some time. We got some time.
Is it the pee break hiatus yet?
No.
When does that happen?
There is no pee break. No, there's a pee break hiatus. All right. Here's what we got. You're doing amazing. Maddie, this is really your show, Maddie. So, we have kind of a little bit of a break here, in which we did Renaissance music, we did Western music and Renaissance instruments. We lost our 7:15 person. But theoretically, pee break is at 7:30. I don't know if I have to. I do have to pee. I do. So I'm just gonna talk for like 10 minutes. Maddie, do you want to talk to me for 10 minutes? Oh, Maddie's gonna pee. Maddie's pee break is first. 7:45. The internet's Cold War origins. 8 o'clock. Dark Souls lore. Oh, my back. Ugh. 8:15, some kind of sport presentation. 8:30, Warhammer 40k lore. And 8:45, chess redemption. Something about me is that my back hurts. Someone come out and teach me how to fix your back. I'm trying to get this here. Maybe sometime. Maybe sometime. Come here, sir. Has everyone been enjoying these presentations? I should probably. What if in future episodes, not so much work, I prepared like a final presentation? How do you feel about that, Maddie? I don't know what I have to teach about. I'm thinking of starting like a little documentary series of my own about how was kind of thorough. How American culture is all cult tactics. Intentionally, but also as a form of blowback. Oh yeah, we got a cat. We got a cat here. Sir. Sir, oh, do you have something to talk about? Here, let's get this schedule out of your face here, sir. Sit on me. He's just gonna sit right down.
I'm taking my pee break.
Will you zoom in on him before you take your pee break?
Pee break.
If you're tuning in just now, we're on kind of a little bit of a... Oh, sir! No! We're on kind of a cat break, pee break. You can't believe it. Sir, look at the... Look at the... Oh, he's so photogenic. Look at this guy. Slow zoom. Sir, you look amazing. You're doing amazing. He's done. Now he's just fascinated by you. So Maddie's taking a pee break. Let me pull up the schedule. Maddie's taking a pee break. Let's go to pee break. Let's go to commercial. Let's go to commercial. So sorry, everyone. Okay, ready? Bam. till we go. We're ordering food right now. I almost ordered. There's a restaurant near us called Mesa Verde. Dox me, I dare you. But I almost ordered like the craziest. It was a chicken bacon ranch burrito. I feel like that's just decadence. Just pure American decadence. In the capital D decadence in the truest sense. Someone come on and tell me about why my back hurts. I'm trying to be taught specifically. I should just Google it. Oh, I had a great idea. I'm gonna advertise this shit in the paper. See if anyone, just any random person wants to come on and teach me about like fly fishing or, you know, all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of stuff that I could learn about and I should learn about probably. tell you guys a little bit about our setup, actually, because I do think it's kind of interesting. I think it sounds good too. They also have one called a California burrito. That's steak and French fries, and I think that sounds pretty good. But they closed because we're door dashing. We were gonna cook, but then we did this instead. So I have a Panasonic DVX100. Sorry, that was our special guest checking in. I've got a Panasonic DVX100. I don't know if I can find a way to show you guys this. Here. That's you. And then we have an Elgato capture device. A little cheapy one that does S-video and, you know. So that's been really fun because it makes it kind of makes me feel like we're in the early 2000s, and it's a nice camera. I look exactly how I actually look, which is, you know, a little gremlin. Ugh. Oh my god, Nathan, are you total amnesiac? In which case, hello. There's gonna be a little bit of delay. Oh my god, this is speeding up, Maddie. This really sped up.
What is it?
The music really sped up really fast. I don't know, but that was kind of crazy. Maddie, I like all of it. All right. You know what? I'm letting Nathan in.
Yeah.
Let's get it started. Nathan, you're going to get an extra 2 minutes. Bam. 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 Hello? Oh. We need to find a way to deal with that. Hello. You can start. I decided to give you some extra time.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Are we?
We are live. Yes.
We are live already. Should I introduce myself, or have you already?
I don't do an introduction.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Getting the format right. Yeah. I'm Nathan. I'm here in Western Mass. I don't have too much to say there. I'm here to talk about a little loosey-goosey history of the internet and the not so ethereal infrastructure behind it.
Hell yeah.
So I can get right into it. So a little background to like just this stuff. In general, as I was looking into this 5 years ago, I had this awful internship in Silicon Valley because I wanted to go far away, and there was a chance to do this like education tech writing for this company called Schmoop, which does like grade school through high school learning materials.
Interesting.
And yeah, they used to be like this sort of garish, like orange and blue stuff on all different subjects, and so they wanted some computer science stuff. And I started with that in school, and then went in a very different direction into the humanities. So it was kind of a way to do both. So they had this project sort of on like how the internet works, and so I kind of did this background research. So this is sort of an adapted, lightly riffing version of that, with a little bit more emphasis of my own on the Cold War stuff. So the internet, like a couple of different uneasy projects in tech, has its origins in the military. So, innovation for the sake of wartime advantages, or kind of, the motive for this is not a public good, but some sort of advancement over another power to try to keep a stronghold in the United States. So if you wind the clock back to 1957, was when the Soviet Union launched the Sputnik satellite. President Eisenhower gathered up a bunch of the brightest scientists in the United States to create something called the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA, which lived in the Department of Defense. So basically, they wanted to figure out at this point, with the United States and the Soviet Union both kind of having access to nuclear weapons, the idea was, if we don't know what's going to happen, but we're basically running on like phone line, direct line communication at this point across the country, but we need another way to talk to, if Illinois, if the middle of the country got blown up, you still want to be able to talk to California. And so that was sort of the fear, like war fear, within the administration at this point, that kind of set this all in motion. And so they were trying to basically create an infrastructure for wireless communication. And so that began with a group of scientists that were brought together. So there's this guy named Leonard Kleinrock that wrote the first paper on something called packet switching, which is basically smaller pieces of information being like transferred in some way. Like you take up, you take like a letter that you're writing to someone, a postcard, a telegraph, and if you could break it into little bits, and like a couple words each piece, like how could you send that somewhere with a computer? There was a think tank guy named Paul Barron, and so he created like a couple of concepts that was like hot potato routing. So like if you're moving something through a system and some of it gets destroyed, it'll continue to go through the network and get somewhere else. So you have all these, people come into the Department of Defense in the mid 1960s. And they had these sort of like tiny, like Honeywell computers, which were basically like a little console where you type text. It was bare bones. There was nothing. And so all these things, they pushed 4 of these little nodules together to make something called ARPANET. So that was basically like, okay, we can send a little tiny message from one node to the next. So in October 1969, Leonard Kleinrock and a team at UCLA sent the first message over ARPANET. They were trying to spell the word login, and the computer in Stanford crashed after L and O. So you can get a sense of how much information it takes to bring down what they had at the time to work with. So that's sort of like the lo and behold, like a little like nugget with the internet. And so sometime after that transmission, you have this guy named Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn, and they're trying to figure out basically like how can we design like protocols to send information that basically helps computers figure out what to send, how much, what other computers in a network can do. So they create like TCP/IP, and so like transmission control protocol / internet protocol. So like your internet protocol address, your IP address, is the specific like location in the network of, umpteen number of computers. That's specifically where you are, and it gets refreshed and it can be tracked and traced. And so that that became the standard ARPANET protocol within the Department of Defense by 1983. So this is taking a little bit of time to really get some momentum going. And then you have the like the DNS, sort of like a phone book, basically, of what all this stuff is kind of like registered as, came together. And so all that gets in place, and you have this sort of like new technology that is there's, you know, we get out of the Cold War and or, you know, sort of get to the tail end, and well, we don't really need to use this anymore for its original concern. But, you know, so ARPANET closes at the start of the 1990s. So this Department of Defense like impetus is done with. And so the, you know, now you kind of have just this thing that was born out of a very different purpose. And so there was a particle physics lab in Switzerland with this guy named Tim Berners-Lee, was playing around with some Apple computers, and he ends up inventing the World Wide Web. And so it basically has like an interface, you know, to use it, because like all the little computers were the network, but it was like, well, how would you use it? What would it actually look like? That would make sense to people. And so he releases it for free to the public, you know, because it started as this sort of unruly technology. And so that's 1993. You know, so we're still really recent as far as when all this stuff is.
It's a year before I was born.
Yeah, so just before I was too. So in 1994, Berners-Lee comes to MIT in Massachusetts, in Cambridge, to found and direct W3C, which is the World Wide Web Consortium. That's sort of, I think now, like, they'd be responsible for certain types of protocols, like the early internet, you know, what was like a standardized kind of coding, what have you. There's a woman named Jean Pauley that came up with the phrase surfing the internet. That's sort of a side thing, but it kind of got lodged into the lexicon. So basically, you have this this project that starts as like a war, you know, tool, is no longer needed for that. Is pushed forward by having an interface that makes sense for people to use, that is somewhat more accessible, and then is released to the public. And so it's in the, you know, intervening, you know, 30 some odd years that this transforms and becomes it moves beyond the realm of sort of a public good into, you know, a heavily privatized, monetized playground. But before all that happens, it kind of has this lawlessness to it and this sort of charm. And so the early internet development you see is, you know, very raw, also because of the limits of like graphic technology and, you know, what we're able to design and sustain in terms of like storage and whatnot. But also because people aren't really even sure what they can do with this stuff. And, you know, so things like e-commerce happen really quickly. You have the .com boom, where a lot of websites form and make tons and tons of money, and then explode and die out because that trend kind of, you know, pops, and there's sort of the gimmick that you can do with this new technology sort of runs out after a number of years. And so, you know, you fast forward, you know, to today, and this sort of environment is really hardened. And so one thing that I also want to sort of layer onto this, you know, separate from sort of the origins, the purposes, and the ways that it functions, sort of the tie-off of that is to say that the way that it's kind of come back around to a heavily monetized, heavily data-tracked, data-driven surveillance tool that then, you know, through private tech companies, the big social media companies, the big advertising companies, it's sort of, again, fitting within sort of a state apparatus where, you know, you can find someone, you know, people get doxxed, or you know, police having access to data on private citizens because of private companies divulging certain things, or advertisers having information on private citizens because of certain terms of service being exploited. It kind of has gone back into sort of a dark area, which resonates somewhat with its origins, but in a different respect. But separate from this is what the internet actually sort of stands on, which isn't, as I originally thought, this sort of ephemeral, like I have my computer and there's the router and that's sort of where it ends. And then there's just some big router somewhere. But other than that, there's no wiring, there's no physical grounding, and then there's no sort of like place to pin down where the internet is. You know, my emails are just floating somewhere in digital space. They don't really exist, but they do, because what makes the internet work now is a network of coaxial cables, which you're familiar with, that would plug into like your Comcast router into the wall, and that, you know, runs through the phone lines. But eventually that has an outpost, and it's converted into a fiber optic cable. And so you have miles and miles of fiber optic cable that actually run along the ocean floor and connect the continents and go around the planet. And I'm not sure on the specific length, but you can take basically the idea and imagine miles and miles of wiring that's sending little beams of light, because fiber optic takes sort of the electrical impulses from the wire and transforms it into something bouncing along a glass tube wrapped inside rubber. And so that apparatus, like, we actually do have a literally wired world. You know, the World Wide Web is sustained by this actual web of cable that's under the ocean. And when something breaks, like when a fiber optic cable breaks, it is a little bit of an endeavor to go and fix it, because you have to go down
To the ocean floor.
with submerged equipment and pull up a line, and it's almost like fixing a pipeline in terms of how much it disrupts. But then that's kind of a segue as well, because all this apparatus has an environmental cost. So the amount of information that we have access to, and the unbroken connection that we have, that access, is sustained by actual, basically warehouses around the country, around the world, that we know as data centers. And these aren't just run by electricity, but they have to have diesel backup engines. They have to be run constantly, because if you have something crash, then you lose access to something, and you have failed transactions. You have customers upset that they can't log in to do XYZ. You have companies that can't do whatever they need to do. So everything staying on all the time has a cost. So there's a slightly outdated figure, but this is from around 2013. But carbon emissions for data centers started to get on the radar for environmental groups, because they amount to, at least at this point, 200 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in a year, which is, at the time in 2013, 3% of global electricity consumption. And then that's the carbon data associated with that. So what's increased? Yeah, so 8 years and the continued expansion of everything that's used, every single device, the Internet of Things, like all these sort of things getting layered on, require more and more data going over the network, and internet service providers and all that infrastructure. So what started as an effort to prevent, doomsday, at least from the perspective of the United States government, and kind of an anti-Soviet, anti-communist kind of mission, has found its way back into a surveillance apparatus, in large part, that also has a terrible environmental cost. So even though we didn't arrive at nuclear war and that sort of like fallout at the time of this project, we're still, or this kind of behemoth that evolved is still wreaking massive environmental havoc. So it is, again, something to filter through the lens of corporations having a lion's share of this because of the sheer amount. Amazon having access to lots of information because it's their web services, their data centers that are supporting a lot of government and corporate infrastructure. So all those things in mind. But yes, the internet is a very has dubious origins, and it has a deep carbon footprint.
Great presentation, Nathan. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was perfectly timed. So I don't have any time for questions, but I implore you to, if you have not already, to read Surveillance Valley by Yasha Levine. I think there's a lot of cool
awesome
stuff in there. All right, thank you so much. You can log off whenever you're ready. Thanks, Nathan.
Alrighty. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a great presentation. Let me cue us up here. Fade out, Maddie. Amazing. All right. Hello.
Hi. Okay, sorry. I think I need to exit out of. I have the Twitch stream open on my other tab. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome.
Cool. Hi, Liz.
Hi. You're here to tell us about Degrassi.
I am. So I'm here to talk about Degrassi. Sorry, my lighting sucks. So I'm here to talk about Degrassi, which is one of the less embarrassing things that I know a lot about. Actually, I got recommended like a YouTube video recently that was like,
oh no, we're losing you. Sarah? Oh no. Sarah, you're frozen. Can you hear me? Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Hello. Sorry, we lost you for a sec.
Oh, sorry. I might have like bad internet up here. I'm gonna just try exiting out of the Twitch stream in case it's making it weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So Degrassi ran for 14 seasons. This is Degrassi : The Next Generation. And eventually I think around like season 7, they had just dropped that to Degrassi. And then after those 14 seasons, it switched to being a Netflix like original. And that's when it was Degrassi Next Class. So if you count Next Class, which I do, then it was 18 total seasons, which is pretty amazing for like a teen drama. And Degrassi Next Generation was a spinoff of Degrassi Junior High from the 80s, which was like a similar, it was like a very kind of like TV show of the 2000s where it's just like following kids at a high school, and like sometimes like they're rich, but mostly it was just kind of like ensemble cast, like, they have these really strong archetypes that you'll actually notice if you keep watching the show. They just begin to repeat them like every few seasons. So like the main character to kind of start the show is Emma, who's the daughter of one of the characters from the original, and her best friend Manny, so it's kind of like the good girl, bad girl, I guess, type. And actually, people put a lot of hate on Emma, but I personally found her a lot more bearable when she's actively kind of an annoying, like tree hugger type character in the beginning of the show. She gets a lot more bland later on, once they started giving her plots that were sort of only around like love interests. But anyway, so they just follow this formula of like, kind of starting with a group of friends, and usually they'll be chronicling different grades. So one thing that Degrassi does really do really well is they will kind of like ease in new characters as the seasons go on. So you'll start, I think when the show starts, you're following 2 grades, the like 7th and 8th graders. And then as the show goes on, like, they'll have the new grades join, and characters that like enter as freshmen will kind of have really minor plots their freshman year. So that way, by the time the characters you care about have graduated, the like new characters will be phased in enough for you to kind of care about them. In terms of, and then they always will usually have like one big event at the end of the season. This is one of the things that I like always think about when I'm watching is Degrassi is so overfunded as a school because they are constantly having like dances,
Yeah.
like like they do like multiple plays a year, and something catastrophic or like notable always happens at it, but it does not seem to have any effect on it. I think my favorite like weird kind of event they have is I don't know if it's like the Vegas night dance. I did just rewatch this, so it should be fresh on my mind, but I like had started watching Degrassi when I was in high school with my brother, and then I'd watched all of it. I watched like the new episodes of like Next Class up until they stopped airing, which I think was like 2016. And then this past year, I like started rewatching from the second part of season 11 because that's my favorite half season of Degrassi.
Why? Tell us why.
Why? Okay. It's my favorite because it really showcases and features my favorite Degrassi character, Fiona Coyne, who is the best written lesbian character on Degrassi. I'm sure they did not intend her to be a lesbian when they started the show out, but like I feel like all of the kind of good Degrassi character development tends to happen by accident.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my favorite because it's really Fiona centric. It has like a really great slow burn of how she gets together with her girlfriend Imogen. And then like, I don't know, there's just other elements of it I like. It's also one of the only seasons where one of my pet peeves for teen TV is when every character on a high school campus is dressed for different weather.
Whoa, sorry, that's a great revelation. Continue.
Yeah, once you start noticing it, it's really hard to stop noticing it. And Degrassi is like a particular offender with this because it takes place in Canada, but we hardly ever see characters dressed for anything other than like spring. And because they want to have like a plot relevant event in season 11, which is like a winter carnival, then they are forced to like recognize seasonal changes. And I really like that aspect and think it kind of adds like a nice like holiday episode air to it as well, I think. And also Fiona's mom gets arrested for insider trading, which is really funny. Just like a little bit more. Sorry, this is going to be a really disjointed presentation.
No, this is great because I've only watched some Degrassi.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm happy to recommend or like give my takes on like which parts are worth watching because some seasons are really really hard to get through. But like a little more on Fiona. So Fiona and her twin brother Declan are introduced in season 9, and this was around the time that Gossip Girl was really big. So Degrassi like loves to try and like take things kind of like culturally like from the headlines or like whatever's popular. So adding Fiona and Declan was kind of their attempt to add like Gossip Girl characters. Declan's kind of like the wannabe like Chuck Bass type character, and it doesn't work. I mean, they're like they feel really out of place. They're like these super rich twins from New York who's their dad's like a diplomat. I think it's like very ambiguous, and they also have really strong Canadian accents but are like supposed to be from New York.
Sorry.
And they're just like really absurd characters. It also leads to Degrassi Takes Manhattan, which like Degrassi has 2, I think, movies. They have a couple that are like TV specials. Basically, the Degrassi movies you can just like watch as normal episodes, and it'll be 4 episodes, but then you can also like watch them straight through, and it's supposed to be a movie. So the first one is like I think Degrassi Goes Hollywood. That one's really bad. It really like kind of flushes all of Paige's character development down the toilet. Craig and Ellie get together, which I always thought that was like a bad pairing. And then like it ends, I think, with Manny like singing to like it's like a very like camp rock kind of ending. Manny's like singing to this huge crowd. And they bring back Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, who are like one of the weirdest and most ongoing Degrassi celebrity guest stars. they have a whole plot centered in, I think, season 3 or 4 around like them making a Jay and Silent Bob movie at Degrassi.
That's
and part of the reason for this was because like some meta knowledge, I guess, on it is that Kevin Smith was like a huge fan of the original show, and he was like, oh, we'll do this guest spot if you change the plot and like write it so that this character Caitlin, who I was in love with as a teen, will like run off with me. And they did it.
That's
so it's really absurd.
That rocks.
And like rewatching it too, I was like, I feel like there's so many jokes here about like the two of them, and like especially Jason Mewes in particular, like, you know, talking about high school girls being hot. It's just a weird, it just aged like so badly.
Wow.
But on my like little notes here that I wrote like 5 minutes before this, I included other weird celebrity guests that they include, which is Billy Ray Cyrus as a limo driver in like the second season, I think. Keke Palmer as herself. In one of the summer specials, they have like a character have a brief romance with Keke Palmer.
Fascinating.
And another one, which I just watched this episode and it's still really funny, is they had Chaz Bono on as a guest judge of the Battle of the Bands in one episode, just specifically for the reason of having the trans character on the show interact with him. And that plot line is like the character Adam, like his song is stolen by this like rockabilly girl who like he goes on a date with.
Classic.
And, yeah, classic. And she just steals his song. You know, you can't trust like a rockabilly Battle of the Bands girl. And then he punches one of her bandmates who like, you know, makes fun of him. And then he goes to Chaz Bono and he's like, Chaz, that was fucked up, right? And Chaz Bono's like, transphobia is bad, but punching someone at the Battle of the Bands is worse. So, you know, he's gotta apologize.
Interesting lesson, I feel.
Yeah, it's very
we have a
like
question
another
from the chat also.
Oh yes, I'd love to hear it. I don't have the Twitch up, so
the question from the chat is Degrassi still going?
It's not. They kind of blueballed us because they stopped making new episodes of Next Class in 2016, I think. But they waited like a year and a half or 2 years before officially announcing that it was canceled, which was really, I kind of, you kind of know at that point, but I was still holding out a little bit of hope. I do think there is definitely a possibility it could come back in the future because the formula of it and like the way that characters, have children and siblings kind of lends itself like to always being recreated. So I do think there's hope in the future. But if you do want to watch it, it's taken me about a year, I think, on and off of watching it. Like there's a lot of episodes to get through. So you do kind of have an infinite supply. And by the time you finish watching, you'll have forgotten sort of the things that happen at the beginning.
just always be watching Degrassi.
Yeah, it's kind of like an infinite cycle. And like if you're willing to watch Next Class too, like I don't think Next Class is bad. They do include some of the same characters who are in the original and in Next Generation. So like it doesn't feel totally detached. It feels a lot more kind of like it's like a little bit more like heavy on kind of the like social justice lingo and like, it's trying to do that thing of like, like the opening is like everyone, on Instagram and like Snapchat. It's very like trying to be, but it's not like, it is heavy-handed, but it's not like bad. They have a Gamergate plot, which is really funny.
Oh, is Next Class with the one with Lola?
Yes. Yeah.
I watched Next Class and I cried during the abortion episode.
Yeah, Lola is great. One thing that Degrassi does do really well is abortion. It was one of the first, I think it was the first like show, like teen show to show an abortion on TV. That episode did not air in the US. But that was Manny's episode. And then they revisit it by having another character have an abortion. The other thing Degrassi also does, I mean, it does millions of things, clearly. But, like, for some reason, every event and kind of like thing has to happen in school or after school or on your lunch break. So like Lola literally got an abortion on her lunch break at school. And it's like, why would someone schedule this for time when, like, you know, why would someone not just schedule this for a day when they're not in class? Yeah. But like therapy sessions, like police intervention, any kind of like drug induced episode will happen in school, like literally everything. Just anyway, okay, my time is up, but
thank you so much. You could talk about it you could come on next time and talk more. I love this. Thank you so much.
So many things. I mean, the motto is it goes there, and I think no matter what, it really does go there.
Great way
thank you
Sarah.
So much.
See, you can log out of the Zoom whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Wow. Degrassi. Maddie, have you watched Degrassi? Maddie was homeschooled, so she wouldn't understand. Degrassi. What is this tune? I like it. So next up, we should have John A. talking about sports. Oh, hello, Princess Knight 69. Sorry, I just keep telling things about you, but Maddie and I played Diablo 2 together. Highly recommend playing Diablo 2 together as a lesbian couple multiplayer. But Maddie's Diablo 2 name was Magic Dyke XXL, which I think is very, fitting and nice and funny. So where's John A? Oh my gosh, we're getting to the part of the stream where you can hear the crickets. Maddie and I ordered Indian food. Ugh, my back. I really gotta say. My back. Not so much my neck, but my back for sure hurts. Here, I'm checking this. What has everyone's favorite presentation been so far? I've really enjoyed all of them, if I'm honest. Maddie, did you light incense? It smells lovely.
No, I think it's a fire from next door.
Oh.
Like a campfire situation.
Next door is having a campfire. Oh, we're just having a good time. Abby is going to round out the show talking about chess. I'm very excited for that. Well, playing a chess game, because she has to win this time. Or no, there's no need. You don't have to win, but I think that's what your aim is. Theoretically. It smells so good. Oh, Maddie. I wonder. We got an anonymous ibex on this Google sheet. I do hate when like Google does something cute, because you're like, yeah. So I believe that they are all on the Twitch channel. If you go to the Twitch channel, I'm gonna do such a bad job explaining this. I made a playlist when you're on the page where if you click Hell is Patient, the name, and then you go to videos, I made like a playlist of all past Learning with Liz's presentations. And I will definitely, probably not immediately after we wrap tonight, but at some point in the next couple of days, we'll add all the ones from today. Maybe immediately after we wrap. What do I know? You can do it on your phone. Easy enough. Also, if you're watching on Twitch, you can how do you do it? Where you can, if I say something funny, you can make a little clip of me saying Alt X. If you do Alt X or you click the little movie thing, if I say something funny. or if the people who are presenting say something. It's really that. I don't talk that much, except for during these downtime moments. I think we may not have Janae. Janae. That's okay. Janae is presented twice, and that in itself, twice or 3 times, that in itself is like an incredibly kind thing to do for me. Look at how good this backdrop looks. It's so Halloween-y. Are you feeling Halloween-y, Maddie? Maddie, do you want to come on? She's deciding. I don't know. We got 10 minutes before the next person, so... I don't know what I'm an expert on, so I can't really talk about anything.
But you know what? You don't have to be an expert.
No.
Really fucks with me. Sorry. You don't have to be an expert to be
An expert. On learning with Liz, true. I could talk about we got 9 minutes. I can talk about Abby cried on a Ferris wheel from Beauty and Majesty at the fair. That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Oh. This show is pro-emotion. Pro-motion. I like the little trees. I like that the title is in the tree. How do we feel about this bookshelf backdrop? I like it. We were trying to decide what to do because we have some weird places all over this house that we could easily also use. Maybe we should, I don't know. I do really like being back. At the beginning of the show, I said some stuff about being sad. I've come a long way since then. You want to learn us about... Oh, okay. So our bookshelf situation, these are beautiful shelves that my girlfriend made from wood from a tree, obviously. But, like, the tree was cut, and then she bought the full length, like, full planks, cut them in half, sanded them, stained them, hung them up on the wall. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. It's the first time she ever did that. And then, so we have at the very top, the 3 shelves, there's 4 shelves, but the top 3 are all political, all socialism, communism, historical theory, and we put them sort of roughly chronological order. And then the bottom is like not communist nonfiction. So that's where we have like my Chinese books and my Judaism books and some like other sort of stuff like herbalism stuff, just things floating around. And then on the other side is fiction and oversized. So we tried to do vague chronological order in the way that we would think it would be useful, in that like when books are talking about the thing that happened, they're closer to books from the thing that happened. I don't know. It's been working pretty well so far, though, I must say. And the shelves are just so beautiful. You know, how could it not? Maddie, do you want to talk about your shelves?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to sit here and talk about your shelves? No.
I'll sort of just speak off screen a little bit.
Okay.
So these shelves came from this guy I found on Craigslist. He's a wood guy. He has got a lot of friends who cut down trees that are causing a problem of some sort. And he was like selling a bunch of trees that pieces of wood rather, from the trees that he has cut into planks with like the live edge wood still attached and solar kiln dried, so they're like ready for a project or business, etc. And so this is all oak right here. On this side you can't really see, but there's 4 maples.
You could turn the camera.
I don't want to disturb the shot. But yeah, those are 4 little maple planks. These are about 70 to 80 inches long. And I have these like, there's like these studs, like these like it's like 8 inches long of like a 1/2 inch diameter piece of it's like it's a piece of metal that goes in there that
like
keeps
poles.
them. Yeah, little poles every stud.
Yeah, and then she drilled holes
In the wood
tunnels through the
to
wood.
match so that it slides right onto the poles that are on the wall.
That's why it looks like they're floating. They're floating shelves.
They're floating shelves, and I need to fix one of them. I bet you can guess which one I have to fix. Maybe you can't.
I don't think you can really tell. I don't know.
Well,
I also don't think you have to fix it.
I'm gonna fix it.
Probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Bothering me.
Oh, so maybe we won't stream you fixing the shelf tomorrow. Oh, my freaking back. Ugh. I know I should sit in the chair like this, but God, who wants to do that? All right, we got 5 minutes. Sorry, I'm so on the clock here. 5 minutes till Sadie doing Warhammer 40K lore. Holy cow. That sounds heavy. I have no idea what that is. I love that. I'm so excited. Maddie, do you know what that is? She doesn't know what that is. What would you call you in this? I feel like as like the off-screen
Talk shows have like a person that they very occasionally bounce something off of.
Yeah, I bounce stuff off of you all the time.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like my band. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm your house band. But I'm also like what's her name from Wheel of Fortune? The babe.
Vanna?
Vanna White.
You're my Vanna White.
Yeah.
Oh. Do they talk to Vanna White?
She has very few speaking lines, I'll be honest. Painfully few.
I think that there should be a name for your position. You're the Maddie. I just, when I need someone to respond to something I'm saying. They talk at her, Abby says, at Vanna White.
Yeah, it's kind of rude actually. It's very gendered.
Oh. Abby says she's dehumanized.
Yeah, it's really not great at all.
Do you feel humanized?
I do actually.
Okay.
I feel like it was maybe a bad analog, but I like the idea of being a babe, and I think it was fun to point out all the letters and stuff.
Yeah. You like the idea of being a babe? You are a babe. But you're not visible at all. So it's...
So I like the idea. I like to promote the idea that I'm a babe. Nobody can know what
Everyone promote the idea that Maddie is a babe. Promote the facts. Facts and facts only. Ooh. Wheel of Fortune. I don't think I ever really watched Wheel of Fortune. I was never into game shows. Because it's sad. It's sad when they don't win.
Oh yeah, I know.
I think that everyone should always, if you're gonna go on TV.
Better win.
My dad says great shelves.
Thank you. He knows the one that needs to be fixed. I'm gonna fix it.
I love this show because it's just people we know watching.
It feels like a little group hangout, but it's also nice because new people can come if they want.
Yeah, newbies.
It's a really good format.
Yeah, I think it's it's one of my greatest ideas, I think. Maybe one day if I feel too tired, if my back hurts too much, we can grab some people. We can get someone. We could do Learning with Abby. Someone else could host.
Oh, that'd be a guest host.
Guest host season. Huh?
Or
A guest Maddie. Well, you get parting gifts when you lose on game shows. Maddie is skeptical of that. Next up, we have Sadie talking about Warhammer 40K lore. There was going to be another lore person on here. I love video game lore. You know that meme that's like, I don't like movies, I just like people talking about lore for video games I've never played? That's me with, but I like watching people play it. I love Five Nights at Freddy's lore. I love Five Nights at Freddy's. Will I explain Five Nights at Freddy's to you? Yeah. It's like a scary. It's scary. It's a scary game for people who like to be scared. You know something that I'm so I don't know. This is for another day. But the fact that like horror really began in like horror film began in the US and has like never been I don't know, like is such an American thing, like wanting to be like traumatized by media. It's crazy. But yeah, that's the deal with Five Nights at Freddy's, is that it's scary and interesting, but also like very much for kids. And there's a lot of merch. I'm into the fact that there's a lot of merch too. Guys, it's Halloween. All right. We're waiting for Sadie. Oh, thank you, Abby. I gotta hang out with Abby. Do you want to come on 9/11 and talk about 9/11?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Next week, Maddie's going to fill the full schedule.
Saturday, huh?
Oh my God. Abby, come over. Come hang out.
We should have like a round table panel.
A round table panel? That could be fun. Please come over. Please come see the cats. Maddie's building porch furniture so we can sit out on the porch.
Yeah.
She got it from Wayfair.
I'm not proud.
She's not proud. But it is porch furniture. It does work. It is furniture. It's an ottoman and a tea table and a little chair, couch. What else do we have? We got a hammock. We have a grill. We got 2 cats.
Most of those things are not good for me.
Yeah. The grill's from Home Depot. We're going to paint the porch. Oh, we picked out porch paint and colors. Purple velvet curtain. What? Lot going on out there. Oh, we got bird feeders. Oh, yes. Nice. Yes. I don't have to talk anymore. Oh my God. Hooray. Welcome.
We working?
Yeah, it's working. We are ready for you. Oh. Hello.
Let me fix my lighting really quickly.
Take your time.
There we go.
Hello, welcome. Warhammer 40K
Okay.
lore. Oh, I'm muted. That's why.
So I'm getting no audio.
Hello, I'm here. Sorry. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm so excited. This is so cool.
Oh, I'm so excited. Warhammer 40K. Whenever you're ready. Lore.
All right. Cool. So I took a couple notes. But so basically Warhammer 40K and Warhammer in general is this large, started off as wargaming. So like D&D, like painting lots of miniatures, and then you'd have like, you put them together. The kits are exorbitantly expensive. It's why I never got into the wargaming part. And, you know, basically put them out on battlefields and you have your army of like 200 little painted aliens and space marines fight each other. What made it...
Sorry, that's
it's
Keep
so
going.
it's cool. I originally got into it because I went to a local comic book store with my dad when I was like 8. And they had like a demo day where they're like showing off the stuff and everyone had their terrains and little armies out. My dad was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Let's try it out. And one of the kits was like $40 for like 5 little figures. And he was like, all right, never mind. But like, he got me the rule book for it. I don't have the exact one, but it looked like this.
Ooh.
This is from the same edition of the game. I think I found this at a used bookstore. And that was my only understanding of Warhammer. Is I read the codex like rule book that's written partially in universe with all of this lore, I read it front to back like hundreds of times. But basically, the whole thing is that what makes it different than other wargaming stuff is that it has this really rich and like absolutely fucking absurd and like just ridiculous setting, which is it's set 40,000 years in the future, hence 40K. And
okay.
It's like objectively like the worst possible timeline for humanity, where basically all sense of progress and like technological advancement and like, you know, any sort of sense of like, yeah, just like expanding, you know, our horizons in the stars is just gone. Like humanity is run by an emperor who is dead, like kept alive after being sacrificed. It's just like the most grim, dark, stupid shit possible. They include this little description, like this little page in like fluff piece at the beginning of each of their books, because they have books too. They have they have like a publishing arm. And one of the things that's just, so nuts is like, they have this little thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's just like describing how fucked up the world is. It's basically just like, what is it? To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It's to live in the cruelest and the most bloody regime possible. These are the tales of such times. Forget the power of technology of science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding. For in the grim darkness of the future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. It's some shit.
Are there gods?
There are gods. There's lots of gods.
Oh my god.
The thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is like one of the goofiest things in it, is orcs in this. Because of course, like there's orcs. Basically, it's like humanity is beset by aliens at all turns, and heretics and demons, and if you think impure thoughts, you can cause a demon to appear in order to just fuck up your whole day and your whole life.
That's true of real life.
Yeah, it is. You know, they weren't wrong about that part. And now it's this massive franchise. Like, it's like one of, if not the most valuable companies in the UK. Because of the pandemic, caused their valuation to blow way up. Yeah, video games. They're trying to make a movie, like a live action movie. They're trying, like, they have their own streaming service now called Warhammer Plus, where they make animated shows about Warhammer.
Oh my god!
It's really nuts. But one of my favorite things in the universe is orcs. You know, they have space orcs, because of course they do. There's space elves and there's space blah 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 blah. There's like a companion that's completely unrelated, that's just Warhammer Fantasy, which is just the same thing but in fantasy form. And the 40K one's all sci-fi grimdark shit, but the orcs are nuts because they're simultaneously like, what if you put orcs in space, and also just like the most like batshit crazy thing imaginable. It's just like they feel so distinct from other kinds of orcs and other, you know, like Lord of the Rings, where it's like they're dumb. Like they're still really dumb in Warhammer. They're still racialized in Warhammer like they are in most other forms of media. They still talk in a Cockney accent for some reason, which is also just fascinating. But the orcs in this world are like, what's it called? They're basically driven. One, they're not really like a humanoid species. I guess they are, but they're a fungus in this lore. Like they just basically like are able to reproduce asexually through just like spreading spores around, and then these spores grow into what become orcs. And the way that the orcs become like strong or sustain themselves or like, you know, basically find nutrients or whatever isn't through eating things, it's through killing things and thinking that they're strong. So that makes them bigger and that also makes them smarter. It's some of the most batshit shit I've ever seen, where it's just like, if you think you're smart, you become this like massive large like creature that then like rules over others.
But they're dumb.
Like they're still dumb, like baseline, but you become smarter than others, and then you become like an orc war chief, or I forget whatever they're called. And there's a whole like caste system of orcs, but they're all basically just a fungus that talks in a Cockney accent. And their whole aesthetic and design is basically just like slapping together like everyone, like other races will have like cool spaceships that look like giant floating castles, or they'll be like just like weird things that look like Egyptian pyramids. And then the orcs are just like, we have a rock and we put some rockets on it, and then we're just going to launch it out there. And people are obsessed with this stuff, me included. Yeah. Although it's like been a while. Of course they are. Like, how could they not be? I know I said I was going to start this talking about the orcs, but it's just like, I guess I could just talk about Warhammer in general, because it's just like some of the strangest thing, like having like talked about it with a few friends who have absolutely no idea what I'm saying and have like zero reference. It's just like what we're doing right now. Yeah. It's just, it's so fascinating, because it's just like, I feel like there are a few things that are like it in terms of it, because it's been around since the 80s. And
so I have never heard of this in my entire life.
Right. I feel like, and like most times when people encounter it, like they see it's grimdark, there's Space Marines, also fascists love it, unsurprisingly. Love it? Yeah. Because there's a whole God Emperor. The thing that started off is that it was like, this is like during like Thatcherism in the UK, and like this like massive rightward shift, and part of like what the game originally was doing, and the kind of creators and people who were making this lore in this world were just like, there's like a fascist theocracy in space, and they're like, we're the best, like the only human option is to like play these assholes. And since then, because it's become their brand, they've kind of had to lean into like all the satire is gone, and especially for fans, where it's like, people are like, Trump is the God Emperor, like kind of missing the whole thing is just like, Trump's the God Emperor, or like, actually it's right because they're talking about exterminating all other races. Like, we should just buy into this. So like fash people love Warhammer for that reason. And they just kind of miss the satire part. And in part, the satire is taken a step back, because they're like, we can just be profitable, like selling this base. That is like just into it objectively.
And now they have a streaming service.
They do. It's nuts. Which has caused a ton of drama in the community, I guess. I've only kept a few tabs on this, but from what I understand, it seemed like basically a bunch of people like make fan creations. They're a notoriously litigious company. I'm wearing a Bolt Thrower shirt. This death metal band. I wanted to put this on for this. This is one of my most prized possessions. They're a death metal band from England who originally kind of had a sponsorship deal partnership with Games Workshop, this company that makes Warhammer, to be like, we'll make your album art. Like, it looks metal as hell. That's super cool. And then they changed their minds later on and were like, no, actually, we're going to sue you if you keep using this.
Oh my God.
So they're super litigious. And I guess there's all this drama now because people make fan videos and fan creations. But now that they have this streaming service, the company is being like, actually, we're going to change our minds and say, I only noticed this because it was on r/subreddit drama. Was someone being like, the company being like, hey, we're actually going to say you can't make your own fan videos anymore. You can only do official stuff. And nerds are freaking out.
As they should be, goddammit. It's from the 80s.
It sucks. Like, it really sucks. It's especially for this like gigantic corporation that's so valuable and really expensive. Like, I don't do the wargaming stuff. I just like to read the books and go on the Wikipedia pages.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, so you're kind of, you don't do the actual gaming, but
no, it's really intimidating. Honestly, I don't understand the rules, and so expensive. But the thing that's neat about it, and I think how most people get into it, is that they will, like, hear about it. They'll watch a YouTube video. One of my favorite YouTube, like Warhammer YouTubers is this guy Oculus Imperia, who just goofy shit. He talks like in universe as this like, I don't know, like historian talking about history of Warhammer 40K, and I listen to it to fall asleep sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's video games. Yeah.
I love this. So there's like, so he talks about it in games. So there's people who have just sort of all this content that they make for within the universe. So you could just kind of just pay attention to just this if you wanted to.
Right, exactly. You could jump in wherever. Like, for the most part, I just like, you know, would read the books, that sort of thing, which is basically like stories taking place in this world. And because it's been around for so long, like, I know we're almost out of time.
No, you came in a little late, so I'll give you a couple minutes. Abby can wait.
This is one anecdote that I thought was so funny, which is I went to a horror convention a couple years ago, and they had a panel that was about Warhammer and like cosmic horror and Warhammer. And I was like, oh, this is two overlapping interests that I never thought would see the light of day. Hell yeah. And the woman who was running the panel is this author I really like, Molly Tanzer, and she was like, yeah, I don't know shit about this. Like, I played a role-playing game about this once, but like they put me on this, I think it'll be entertaining. And it was, but one of the things that came up was like this author who was on the panel was asked, like, was talking about his experience, like getting pitched to write for like a horror anthology they did, like set in universe, like space horror. And he was like, yeah, you know, like I'm kind of familiar with the world and the lore a little bit. Like I know the in-universe lingo. I played a little bit when I was like in my 20s. And then, so he emailed the guy and was like, who had like kind of reached out to him, like, hey, you want to write for our anthology? And he was like, yeah, sure. Like, that sounds great. You know, like, I feel like I've got some, you know, lingo or anything. Are there any sort of like rules or whatever I should keep aware of? Or is it just like free reign? I'd like to just have free reign to tell my story. And the person who wrote back, who I guess is one of an entire department whose job it is to make sure that the lore stays canon in the universe, is basically sent this author like a 75-page PDF and was like, here, this is a good primer. This should help you out getting started. Try to keep within the confines of this. And if you want to have any questions, let me know.
Oh my God.
It's nerd shit. It's really wild.
Oh my God, that's like so sick. But it's also, so many things are like that, where it really starts with like one thing that everyone thinks is cool, and then it's like, well, now there's 60,000 fucking versions of this, and like.
Right. Yeah, and now we all have to like adhere to a line because it's profitable, or because a certain subset of nerds really want it this way.
Yeah.
It's a real trip. I didn't even get to the juicy stuff. Like, there's an elf BDSM god. There's some crazy shit in this. Maybe next week. Who knows?
Yeah, come on. I would love to continue this conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's get Abby in here to play some chess. Thank you so much. Holy shit. New world. New Google search.
New world. Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. This was lovely.
Thank you. You can log out of the Zoom whenever you're ready, and God bless you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, there's something about like deep lore. I feel like, I don't know. I'm not going to go into some theories that I have about like human culture and American culture, but like I feel like there's like, I don't know. There's like a new abjection that people desire, and it includes like deep lore feelings, ASMR feelings, and cringe, and trauma. Bam. Let's let in Abby. Rounding off the night, we have an old favorite. Welcome, Abby, to Learning with Liz.
Hi.
Hi.
Just leave the Twitch and
yeah.
So
I have to update
share my screen.
Game of Chess Redemption.
Yeah. So the last time I was on this show, for people who are new, I got totally destroyed in chess, and it was really embarrassing. And so I've been hitting the books, and studying the board. And I think I'm gonna play a game against a real person now and not a computer, which has been like a growing edge for me, because I think it can be hard to play against teenagers because sometimes they're mean, on the internet.
Yeah.
I think, everyone I play is a teenager on the internet and they're mean, but I don't think that's actually true.
Well, teenagers tend to use harsh language.
Yeah.
Especially when they're upset.
People do tend to be very polite in the chat for chess. Sometimes they're not, but they're, it's a gentleman's game. I guess I'll play a 10-minute game, and then if we go over time, I'll just resign.
Oh, don't even worry about it. I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do this. I hope I get the white pieces.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah. We're off to a
okay.
good start.
Great. Okay, I guess I will take the full center with my pawns.
Is your name Chess Guy 19?
My name is Chess Guy. I'm playing Sycamore Snake.
Nice.
I can't. Their rating is 1357. Okay, I guess I will develop this knight. Okay, now they're attacking my pawn. I remember why this was hard last time, is because I feel
Take your
very
time.
overwhelmed of pressure.
Take your time.
I guess I will. I don't want to check the king. I guess I will defend that pawn again with the bishop. Is this fun for anyone else?
Yes, you're doing amazing. Maddie has. You hear that? Maddie's full screen.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, they have this nice little pyramid of pawns now. I like having sort of my knights out like this and then a big center. What was that? Why are they doing that? What are they doing? Maddie, what do you think they're doing? I guess I'll castle.
Maddie thinks they're trying to get that rook out of there.
I don't know what's going on. I want to pawn break, but maybe I will first develop this bishop.
Bam.
Bam. I like it when it makes a little sound.
Yeah.
Now, attacking the bishop, I'm going to call their bluff.
Whoa.
And break up their little pyramid because I didn't like it. I took back with the queen. Now I have double pawns in the center, which isn't great, but now I don't.
Double pawns.
Maybe now I'll check the king with the queen.
Ooh. Bam.
I've been playing the Vienna Gambit a lot, and I didn't.
The Vienna Gambit?
Yeah, which is I didn't get to play it just now because they had this weird opening, but it's very aggressive for white, so it works well for me. What the heck are they doing? I don't know. I'm gonna attack the queen right now just to see what happens. I don't know what she'll do.
Whoa.
Oh, stupid! What are you doing? You just lost your queen, dummy.
Oh, you're gonna win. You're gonna fucking win.
I can't believe this is happening. What an idiot. They just resigned.
Oh my god, you're so good at chess. Do another one. Bam.
Yeah, should we play again?
Yeah, you got time. We're having fun. Maddie says she'll watch all night. We gotta eat dinner at some point, Maddie.
Apparently, chess streaming is huge.
Oh, probably.
It's a big esport.
You should totally just stream chess. But I also love having you on this show to do chess.
Well, this is my chess stream. I love chess with you.
Okay.
My strategy as black is going to be develop all my pieces and then attack.
I was not thinking. That was not a great move.
Here, I'm gonna shut up and you go.
No, I can talk. It's fine. I guess I'll see this through. Exchange knights. That's fine. I didn't really want that anyway. Here, maybe eat this pawn. Yeah, now it's running away. Maddie, do you have a favorite piece?
Do you hear
Favorite pieces in knight? You know, gotta say the rook.
Oh, why?
It just like it's really solid, like it's really reliable. You can trust your rooks. They do. It's like you think you're done, and then there are rooks. I'm an early castler. I wasn't always. I feel like I forget to do it later. But okay, now I need to think about how I'm going to attack this person. Okay, so if I take whatever, let's try it. Please.
I saw you beat your teacher.
Yeah, that was crazy. I've been like playing chess in the park every day, or like not every day, every Sunday. I wish every day. With one of my housemates' former coworkers, and he's just like a very good player and has taught me everything I know. And very unexpectedly, I managed to beat him. It was like the most exciting day ever. I guess me and this person are like about tied, I guess, of pieces. So I guess I will not just keep mindlessly exchanging. Yeah, I feel like it will. Oh, that was stupid. I just dropped that knight. Maybe they won't see it. No, they saw it. Yeah, I feel like it'll probably take me another like maybe 6 months to beat him again. If I ever do.
You will.
Thank you. Thank you for believing in me.
Yes.
I do think I've improved a lot. I'm very proud of myself for that.
Oh my god. Frankie's doing weird stuff over there, but not as interesting as chess.
Oh, I don't know about that. Man, I wish I hadn't dropped that knight.
That's okay.
Now things might turn around. Should be okay for now. Am I going to take my rook? That would be bad.
Oh.
No. This one is not going well.
That's okay. You've already redeemed yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, does it count if I have like one win and one loss?
Yeah, I would say so.
No.
We'll let the chat decide. Chat, do you think that Abby has redeemed herself? Is this a true chess redemption? Worst case scenario, you can come on another week.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I don't like. I don't really have a plan at this point.
Win says redemption valid.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. Huh. Oh. Why are you doing that? Oh. This is just like cleaning up now for this person.
Oh.
Do you like the little Kirby sound?
I do. They picked a great sound effect for this.
They did. Maybe I'll just keep chasing the queen around for a while.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, run away. Run away.
Oh.
Okay. No, I won't. I won't think about this. I don't know, man. This is unlikely to go in a different direction. I could just resign.
It's up to you. I'm having a blast.
What's going on in the chat?
I got a little award from Restream that says, "Congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with Restream chat." So thank you, everyone.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody.
God.
Oh, I should probably plug. So for everyone who's still watching, if you want to come on next week, we're going to do this again next Saturday, same time, 6 o'clock. I'll probably do some heavy promoting. Oh, Wynn's making pasta right now. That's exciting. Here's the link, tinyurl.com/learningwithliz. It doesn't change anymore. What a nice episode this has been.
No, they're not. They're not gonna take.
They're not gonna bite. What?
If they take, it's like.
What's this guy's name?
No way.
Oh, are you gonna win?
No way. No way.
There's no way.
Fuck. Okay, well, I guess, I
don't know.
This is looking a little better for me. Should I take the rook? Or should I quit while I'm ahead of this little strategy?
I think go for it.
Why not?
What's the worst thing that's gonna happen?
I wasn't using that rook.
Bam. No one can get you in either place.
Yeah.
He's kind of trapped. You kind of win. Oh, no.
No, I don't.
I forgot they could go diagonally.
Yeah. I can just chase around for a while. Definitely down on time, but... Okay, no, I can't have that. I know it's pawn. And... That's... not good.
Is it gonna be a checkmate?
No. But I will have only pawns and they will have a bishop. Whatever that guy is, a knight if they take. But I'll have one outside passed pawn. That could Oh, they got scared of my pawn. Okay.
This is very interesting.
This is lasting a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
They've made some mistakes.
Let's go, pawn. Let's go, my little pawn. Let's go, pawn. Let's go.
Let's go, pawn. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
This guy's not even doing anything. Oh.
Yeah.
You got him running scared.
Okay. I feel like there are other things this person could be. Yeah, there's other things this person could be doing. Now they want to bring the queen here and mate with the queen and the knight. So I'm gonna, I guess, go back here to avoid that. But it isn't great for me because now I can't advance the pawn anymore because the queen will take.
He's thinking. He has no idea what to do.
I feel really embarrassed of the last time I played. It was like a horrible like back rank mate. That I was really goofy and missed. Just like my king was like in a little corner and got like stuck behind all the pawns, and that was just.
You've truly redeemed yourself. Can you get the bishop with the knight?
You know, I could. I was thinking about attacking the knight first. But then that like drops this pawn, which isn't great. Well, if I move this pawn, then the queen will check here. So I actually really know. Maybe that wouldn't be, no, that would be bad because then the knight would take my queen blocks. I still can't. Maybe I'll try to run away with my king over here. Get him out of there somehow. No, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Maybe I think I'll resign now. I'm not gonna make you guys watch this.
All right.
Let this person do it.
Congratulations to this person for winning.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Abby. I think you've redeemed yourself.
Let's do this again sometime.
Oh yes, of course. Have a good night. Good night, Abby. Okay, folks. Maddie, do you want to play us out? We had an amazing evening at Ladies and Germs. This is not really reflective. Well, I'm gonna go eat some Indian takeout food. At the beginning of this episode, I talked a little bit about how I was feeling kind of, I don't know, sad. Maybe not. I cannot listen. Maybe not as motivated to do this show anymore. But I think that after doing it, I changed my mind. I'm down. Let's see if we get a bunch of people signed up next week. I have a bunch of other things in the works as well that I guess are more sort of, but you know, I do want to learn from people, and I do learn so much when people come on, and I have a really good time. And I hope that you have a good time too. And Maddie's here. I love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. See you next Saturday. Oh. I'm not even out yet. All right, bye.